Here we are again with the 2016 Tundra with another big project. Last time it was the steering rack with the bushings going out. Now it's the fuel pump in this thing. So there's a long history and issues with fuel pumps on these Tundras, and specifically the flex fuel pumps. Up north when it gets cold, a lot of people had a long start and it wouldn't crank. It was an extended crank. There was a TSB from Toyota that extended it to 80,000 miles or 8 years. However, there's another issue that I've read a ton on forums that dealerships can't diagnose because there's no check engine light that comes on. The fuel pressures look good at idle when they're checking that, so they don't think it's the fuel pump. But what happens is that a lower RPM going up a hill or under load, you'll start feeling what feels like a misfire. And you wouldn't think it's the fuel pump. So I have new spark plugs. I know it's not that. I have no check engine light on, but you have this hesitation, surging feeling at around 2,000 RPM when you're under load. And a bunch of people have replaced their fuel pump, and that was the issue. So I couldn't find any good videos online of someone dropping the 38-gallon flex fuel tank online on YouTube. So I'm going to film the most important parts on this. I'm not going to film disconnecting the connections, but I'm just going to point out any major things that you want to look out for if you do drop this yourself. So my plan is I'm going to take off this infab bar to give me a little more room. I do have a 3.5-inch lift, so I think I've got plenty of room under there to drop the tank. I'm going to use 2 floor jacks with a piece of plywood on each to lower the tank down. What you want to do first is pull the 25 amp fuel pump fuse right there, which you can look on the box top and find out which one's which. Crank your truck, let it run out of fuel. It'll take actually a couple minutes. It'll stumble and then die. And then once you do that, you can put that fuse back in and then just take the negative off the battery, and then you'll be good to go. You won't get sprayed in the face when you undo the fuel lines at the tank. So that's where we're at, and on to the next step. All right, we're up under the tank here, right under the driver's side door, and we've got these 2 lines to disconnect. Clip pops up, pull them apart. And on the flex fuels, there's a 3rd connection on the fuel pump, but I'm not seeing that line right here. So when I do figure out where that is, I'll get it in the video. All right, so now we're under right by the rear tire here, driver's side. And some people I've watched, they disconnect the fill tube from on top of the tank, but with this 38-gallon, it's kind of longer and it's hard to get your hand in there. So in one of the videos I saw, the guy undid the fill tube from right here, and also that line has to get undone. And I think that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to work it up when I raise the tank. I think it's going to be easier. I'll let you know the feedback on what actually happened. Okay, so at this point I've got the evaporator line disconnected. Pretty simple to get off. Fuel fill line off. And then the next thing before you start trying to lower the tank is going to be this line right here that connects to the evaporator tank for emissions. Then we're going to lower the tank down a little bit and take a look at what's connected and what's kind of tight. All right, so here's where we are. We got the tank supported with 2 jacks. I've removed all 3 straps. On the 38-gallon tank, there's 3 straps. The one closest to the front of the truck can just swing. It doesn't hit the drive shaft because there's no drive shaft up there. The other 2, you got to pull the clip and the pin and totally remove the straps before you can do anything. All right, so I've got it dropped down a little bit. I'm actually using the camera to see what the hell I'm looking at because I can't fit my head up here. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that because there is no room with this drive shaft and the exhaust. So I think I see the fuel pump there. It's just a matter if I can feel and undo the clip on it. It's probably gonna be the hardest part. All right, what an absolute cluster F with this flex fuel, which nobody else shows online or on YouTube. I had to take the exhaust out so I could see what the hell is going on up here. And on the non-flex fuel ones, there's just the fuel pump clip that comes out and everyone drops the tank. Well, this one has extra lines that are going to some type of whatever that is. So you got to disconnect the lines off the top of the pump right here. Ugh, this looks horrible. I'm gonna keep going. Well, I'm getting concerned that I'm not going to be able to do this, but I've come so far, and all I've got is this one fuel connection right there at the switching valve for the flex fuel, and I don't know how that gets disconnected. I just read that you got to get a fuel line disconnect tool to get it off, but I can't even see anything over there to make out what I'm trying to do. Frustrating. Alright, so here's my latest plan. Instead of trying to figure out how to disconnect that line, it looks like I've got enough room to lower it, and I think I can get this fuel pump out without removing the tank. I'm just going to lower it. I got a tool that fits onto those tabs so you don't have to hammer them. And I'm gonna pray that I got enough room to work that pump out, so we'll see. All right, just trying to get a video here. Got it disconnected, so all the lines kind of line up where they're supposed to go. So I just have to get the new pump in the same orientation with the plug in the same spot, and then it'll be obvious which line goes where. So nothing should get mixed up. And I got even more room to drop. I think this might work. Alright, here's this snazzy little tool off Amazon. Fits right on the top of the Toyota pump perfectly. Let's see if I can get it spinning. Alright, I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work. That's the old one. Alright, got the old pump out, dumped gas everywhere. That was fun. For people who want to know the part numbers, this is the new pump, and I'm hoping this is the updated part fuel pump that isn't gonna take a dump again. And then here is the old part number right there. I don't know, hopefully it comes in. It's a little blurry. Anyway, let's get the new one in. Alright, new pump is in. I'm going to use this to see if I can find the yellow mark. Alright, there's the yellow on the ring. And now where in the heck is the yellow on the tank? I think that looks like yellow right there. I think I want to line up for that. Guess I should have checked this before, but you know what? I'm going to tighten it up and that's going to be it. I've had enough of this. Enough of this nonsense. I've been wondering what's inside this fill tube, and if I can put a hose in there to siphon out fuel for a hurricane when we need to run the generator. Can't see anything though. Alright, so got the tank lifted back up. There's this one line that goes to the flex fuel control valve there. That's a real tight fit. So you got to have the tank pretty darn high when you put that one in. Alright, but it's pretty clear what goes where This one's on that side. The one coming from over here is this one, and then the shortest one goes on that. So it's really hard to get this screwed up. So it's in. So now just reconnect the lines at the front, the evap right there, and man, I think you did it. Jesus. All right, so I just took the truck for a test drive after putting the new fuel pump in, and I have torque on here, and I was watching my fuel trim, long-term and short-term, with the other one, and they were always higher, 6, 7, 8%, and I think that means that the ECM, or fuel pump control module, is calling for more fuel. So one of the symptoms of this with this damn fuel pump is that your miles per gallon go down. So I was at 10.1 miles per gallon, and then my fuel trims were up 6, 7, 8%. When I just took it for a test drive, when I'm giving it gas, the short term is at 0%. And it was never like that. It was always up 3, 4, 5 on that when I was giving it gas on the old pump. So just trying to give you some things to look at if you're having the same thing to kind of confirm it is the fuel pump. So any kind of surging, hesitation, feels like a misfire, it's your fuel pump, especially if you got a flex fuel. It could be 2014, 2015, my truck's a 2016. So it was a success. Truck runs great. Huge pain in the butt. It took about 4 hours to do, but I got quotes from 2 local shops. One said 2 to 2.5 hours, it'd be $350 to $400, and then another one said it'd be $260 to $300 with tax. So I guess I saved myself around $300 if I went with the cheapest place. But it wasn't easy. As you can see in the video, it's a lot different for the flex fuel ones, and you just can't take the tank out unless you want to undo that one line, and there's a tool you got to buy to unclip that fuel line. So I was able to get the old fuel pump out and the new one in and locked into place, and all seems good right now. So hopefully this helps out one of you guys.